in the social media world, Elon Musk then opened himself up to being beaten down by them and defeated by them. So it is ironic, but we also appreciate the opportunity. We appreciate that we're able to have these conversations. And despite Elon's frankly autistic fit he threw over the weekend, the good that he's done outweighs, you know, the strangeness that went on over the weekend. We'll get into some of the strangeness, because again, this isn't, I'm not going to read this for our radio listeners. It's a family show and it's too early in the morning. I'll just replace I'll replace the curse word with, how about the word wash? I'll replace it with the word wash. Just take a big step and wash yourself in the face. He says, wash your face. I will go to war with the issue, the likes of which you cannot possibly comprehend. It's like, all right, calm down, big guy. Calm down there, big fella. You're wrong. And eventually he backtracked and sort of admitted he was wrong. Again, this isn't just about H-1B visas. It's about what America is or isn't. It's about the purpose of MAGA. It's about whether it's there to actually serve the voters and the constituents and the citizens of America that are the power base of the entire establishment, MAGA establishment, or it's also about censorship and about Elon Musk himself and the role he plays in the MAGA movement and the role that X plays, et cetera, et cetera. So, again, we'll try to break it down for you, but it has been absolutely fascinating. And again, I think one of the most gratifying outcomes of this is that people get that, like, hey, if MAGA isn't going to protect American jobs from foreign exploitation and manipulation of the law by big tech companies or any big corporate manifestation, then there's no point to exist. So you got no leverage. So there's nothing that, like, MAGA's going to be like, oh, well, we'll just have to take this on the chin so we can get our other stuff done. Like, no, this is the platform. This is the policy we want. This is everything encapsulated in one nice package. The elimination of the H-1B visas. Now, illegal immigration is still obviously the much, much bigger problem in a lot of different ways. But almost equally as big of an issue is the H-1B, the legal immigration. And if you compromise on that, you might as well not exist. So it seems like everybody kind of recognizes now, like, no, we either stand by our, stick by our guns and actually get what we want and what we voted for and what we have fought and suffered and argued for the last several years, or we'll burn this whole place down, or the whole place goes down with us. So that's a very strong position to be negotiating from, and I find it very entertaining. We're going to get into all of that and more. We've got planes falling out of the sky. We've got birds getting the flu. We've got all sorts of just absolute craziness to get into. So let's begin, as we always do, with our Daily Dispatch. All right, here it is, your Daily Dispatch for Monday, the 30th of December, 2024. Jimmy Carter, 39th U.S. president, dead at 100. Of the former president confirmed that his father passed away earlier today at the age of 100. He was the oldest living U.S. president in history. Although his son confirmed his death, he did not provide an immediate cause. Speculation is that he was 100 years old, and that may have been the cause. Sad to see. He was predeceased by his wife, Rosalind Carter, who died in November 2023 at 96. He's survived by his 4 children, 11 grandchildren, and 14 great-grandchildren. He entered politics in the 1960s as a Democrat at the state level. By the 70s, he'd been elected governor of Georgia. He served as U.S. president for one term from 1977 to 1981. So, God rest his soul. Meanwhile, Russia will abandon its unilateral missile moratorium, Lavrov says. Russia will scrap a moratorium on the deployment of intermediate and shorter-range nuclear-capable missiles because the U.S. has deployed such weapons in various regions around the world, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said on Sunday. Russia's move, long signaled, will kill off all that remains from one of the most significant arms control treaties of the Cold War. amid fears that the world's two biggest nuclear powers could be entering a new arms race together with China. Yeah, there's a lot to say about this, but it seems like this is another sort of trend over 2024 up till the present moment. It's like every couple of weeks, it seems, there's some new barrier to World War III being removed. At a certain point, it's like, okay, how close are we really? It's like, first they, justify and say you can't launch those missiles. Then they start testing things. Then they get all of their nuclear battalions in position to go on the attack. And it's just like, piece by piece, we're moving closer and closer and closer and closer to the inevitable nuclear exchange that would accompany the outbreak of a full-fledged World War III conflict with Russia. And I don't know how many more barriers to that World War III outbreak we can go through before it eventually becomes totally real, but this is the latest and just another signal that maybe we should be paying attention to if we don't want to incinerate the planet in nuclear hellfire. Although I'm not so sure that is aligned with the desires of the powers that be. And that includes American and Chinese and Russian powers. Which we'll talk a little bit more about that a little bit later, as the social unrest in China is getting interesting and sort of represents, if I was the Chinese government, you got a lot of young people dropping out of work, like kind of the same thing that's happening here in America with like quiet quitting, where people just decide the system is BS, so they'll just milk it for everything it's worth. Ironically and obviously then making the system itself worse and creating a feedback loop of collapse. That same type of pattern is taking place in China, with young people sort of dropping out of society and not feeling like they want to contribute anymore. When you learn about the scale and scope of this catastrophe on the hands of China, it becomes very obvious to understand why the Chinese government might think maybe a good old-fashioned war would get people back in place, would get people moving again. Very troubling. Meanwhile, what we know about the deadly Jeju air disaster in South Korea. South Korea has vowed a thorough investigation to find what caused a plane crash that killed 179 people, saying Monday will also inspect all Boeing 737-800 aircraft operated by the country's airlines. Sunday's crash, the nation's deadliest aviation disaster in decades, has sent a shockwave through South Korean society, which is already facing a political crisis that led to the successive impeachments of the company's two top officials, President Yoon Soo-yeol and Prime Minister Han Duk-seo. And the crash was a brutal one. It was caught on camera. Here it is. You can see the plane landing without gears, and then almost immediately after touching down, slamming into a concrete wall. Clearly, a lot of things had to go wrong for this to be the case. A lot of either mistakes or just natural disasters had to occur for this to be the case. They're still trying to get to the bottom of exactly what happened. Something like only 2 people survived, one of which was a flight attendant who claimed that they struck a bird as they were landing, but just for me, how a bird strike would mean that you couldn't lower the landing gear, that doesn't really fit. And of course, it was just a few days ago that there was the plane shot down over Kazakhstan.
Same to you. Same to you.
Russia has apologized for that, but has not taken any responsibility for it. We'll look into that too. So there have been multiple major, just disastrous air catastrophes with 747s, 737s, and just major, jumbo jet Airbuses falling out of the sky or being shot out of the sky or bursting into flame upon landing. We'll get into what could be behind this. Meanwhile, trans-identified males to compete as female in 2020 Boston Marathon, sparking outrage from female runners. Wow. How about we just get rid of the female-male distinction? Oh, what's that? Oh, because men. And finally, from InfoWars, Musk comes out in favor of H-1B reform. Musk has significantly modified his initial position on H-1B system in the last few days, saying, "I've been very clear the program is system and needs major reform," he said on Twitter. Which, I don't know, didn't really sound like an apology to me. It didn't sound too much like an appropriate apology to me, so let's try that again, Mr. Musk. Let's try that again. Or do we need to remind you what you said about all of us? What was it? Getting rid of us? Root and stem from the party? You want to reframe that?
It's time to take action. So for a lot of you out there, this is free, and you can make supplemental money very easily. I mean, I would imagine most people can make hundreds of bucks a month with their eyes closed. And if you really kick ass, thousands of dollars, even if you have a tiny, X account or Facebook or whatever. But if you're a talk show host, I mean, you can make a living and finance your show and maybe even, hire reporters or whatever. I mean, this is exciting. So go down to the LSUstore.com. And one other thing, there are 5 limited edition fundraiser posters. By fundraiser, everything raises funds there. The t-shirts cost like $16, $17 a piece before you buy them. And then the sponsor gets half, and we get half, and we run all this. Build a new network as a backup. We're squeaking by. But something says fundraiser on it, like a t-shirt that's cost double, or a poster costs $5, $6. I mean, the shipping, we ship it in the special packaging costs as much as the poster itself. So we're $6, $7, $8, $9 for the poster cost, shipment, the packaging, and then we're selling it for $25, $30. That's because there's some real markup in there to fund it. So you're buying something. There's a memento that you really back what we're doing. The campaign coins, challenge coins, they're all there. So the posters run from $19.95 to $29.95, and we'll have new limited edition posters after that. But the posters on January 6th will be no more. They're limited edition, so if you get your order in by then, you will get the poster. It's a print on demand. They're in Arkansas. If you want one of these posters, there they are. And again, you've got until January 6th to get your order in. They look great, hang on the wall. We got them hanging here in the office. And I designed all of these. My favorite is the Trump graph that I showed the day before the election that predicted the election. I said she's going to try to steal it, but it's going to fail. So the blue line goes up, it goes straight up, but it's not enough fraud to overpower the landslide. And that's actually the graph that actually happened in the key battlegrounds. So you talk about nailing it, baby. That's my favorite. I designed that one. And then the 47 one I designed as well. So I designed those. I did not design the Darkest Hour one, but there it is. Thank you for the support. I'm done plugging. I've just been looking at all the attacks for victory support, and I realized how much money it takes to take these people on, and they are so pissed we're still on air.
Trump in the worst possible position by starting World War III, that is, by starting World War III. And,
3 of them.
21 days, 2 hours, 26 minutes.
Weird.
I wonder what will happen in the next 20 days.
Too.
I have a feeling that as crazy as 2024 was, and it got crazier the deeper into the year it went, I think 2025 is going to be just even more insane. I kind of can't wait. I kind of am very excited. Apologies if I'm smacking a little bit. I just took 2 of the Ultimate CMOS gummies from thealexjonesstore.com. You might want to get yourself some of these too. You can probably hear I'm a little bit stuffed up, but that's because I haven't been at the office in like a week, and I keep all of my supplements at the office. And it's wintertime, and you know, major fluctuations in the temperature and weather, and I'm surrounded by children that don't know basic hygiene. So I wasn't even under the weather. I just my voice is a little bit weak right now. But this will be a test. This will be a real life, in real time test where I just got back to the office, and for the first time in a week, I'm going to start taking the Optimal Human and CMOS and turmeric and Iron Plus, and we'll see if by the end of the week I still don't sound good. It'll be a real life test for you folks. And of course you go to thealexjonesstore.com/Harrison so they know who sent you, and purchase yourself some of the incredible supplements and hats and t-shirts and everything. There's some very cool gear there too. One of my friends was over the weekend came to a party and was wearing the I'm on a government watch list hat, which is just great. It is a great hat because it's political, but you're not going to like piss off any liberals. They're probably on watch lists too. Aren't we all? Can't we all come together and understand that we're all the enemy of the establishment? All right, so we got a lot to get into. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. And I think actually I want out for a very long time. It's been obviously the next step in the plan extensively in the past year and more. How exactly this would manifest, how they would roll this out, how they're putting in place all of the switches to be activated. Right, so they'll put something into law where it says if we have a positive PCR test, then all of this stuff gets activated, and then they send out PCR tests to every farm and cattle rancher or poultry farm in the country, and they say test every animal every day, just in case. And by the way, maybe we'll ratchet up the PCR sensitivity to guarantee a positive test, because then you get the positive test and all this other stuff that we've preloaded will be activated. And so we've just been sort of waiting for that to take place. But of course, in addition to that, not only do you have the entire substructure already built to activate another pandemic, global pandemic, the likes of COVID, you also have an excuse to slaughter tens of millions of farm animals that aren't sick on the basis that you're stopping the spread, which of course just happens to be exactly the same outcome of climate change programs and health initiatives that they're trying to push forward. You're killing all the farm animals, and you're eliminating our source of meat so that you can make us eat bugs and lab-grown abominations that you call meat. So a lot of benefits to this, particular PSYOP being rolled out, and we've been waiting for it, and it seems like they are finally ready to activate the program. Let's go to clip number 1 here. This is Alex Jones warning about the H5N1 bird flu, in this case the vaccine, which is just another layer of...
We're not going to talk about that. He's apparently talking about medical CDC facts. Will get you in trouble these days on the YouTubes.
obviously,
I've never seen this light blinking before.
Extensively in the past, and it's almost,
What happened
I don't know,
already?
it's like, do we have enough new people that it's worth it to go back over this stuff, or should we just tell the new people, like, hey, you gotta do your digging, you gotta do your research, you gotta go back through the archives and find out about this stuff? And maybe that's the best way to do it, because there's so much new stuff to talk about. It's we just don't have time to go back over and over and over the same thing over and over again, although that is what is necessary, because it's the same thing happening over and over, right? You've got this story. I didn't even see this before I mentioned it, but like this is how sort of recurring all of these stories are. Bill Gates linked vaccine delivered through mosquito bite carries bioengineered malaria-causing parasite. Bill Gates funded a Dutch medical center that engineers mosquito vaccines, which have been proven to infect blood cells. A new experiment, a bizarre experiment funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, developed a new vaccine strategy using mosquito bites as a delivery vector in pursuit of developing a next-generation malaria vaccine. The experiment was conducted by researchers at Leiden University Medical Center in the Netherlands and published last month in the peer-reviewed New England Journal of Medicine. Researchers explained how they used the bites of mosquitoes to deliver a short-lived malaria vaccine compromised of genetically modified malaria parasites. It's the type of thing where you would think that as soon as people learned what was going on, they would put a stop to it, and then we wouldn't have to cover it anymore. But it turns out they just keep doing it over and over and over and over and over. So we have to keep covering it over and over. So it's also things like this, like health expert Dr. Leanna Wynn, calls for a Biden regime to approve 5 million doses of bird flu vaccines before Trump takes office. We've got to do it quick, right? Because the bird flu is just so virulent and dangerous, right? It's not because this is some sort of mass murder campaign like COVID was, and you're trying to get it done quickly before Puppet is out of office. Yeah, I have my doubts. But this is another character, Leanna Wynn, who I guess you just got to search her name. I guess you just got to go to band.video and search her name, or Infowars.com and search Dr. Wynn, W-E-N. Because I don't have time to tell you what a obvious intelligence cutout operative this woman is. It's astonishing. It truly is. And you would think that when somebody was proven to be a unrepentant liar and asset for the intelligence operations that are murdering millions of people, she would then be discredited and not be an issue anymore. But that's not how it works these days. So she would just be blatantly wrong or lying, it doesn't matter which, about any number of topics. We can report on that, expose her absolutely unquestioningly fraudulent. Her entire credentials are like she's just wrong over and over and over again, and you would think that would mean she would go away. But no, she's still being treated as an expert. She's still being invited on to talk about programs that she's helping to run. She's one of the people that you can find videos of where she's just with you, like no caveats, no obscurity, no ambiguousness, just being like, the vaccine cures you of COVID, and it means nobody's ever gonna get it, and it's 100% effective, I guarantee it. She's got a big smile on her face, and it's like, okay, so
Later.